Hello, this is Gavin Phillips with Photographers Photoshop, and what I'm showing you in this quick start movie is how to use the Photobooks and Collages Photoshop plugin. After you have installed the plugin and there's a movie that shows you exactly how to install it, it will show up under Window, Extensions, Photobooks and Collages. The Photobooks and Collages plugin works seamlessly with other Photoshop panels. So for instance, if I want to dock it with this Actions and Layers here, simply drag it across as you would with any Photoshop panel and release when you see that blue line there, and then I can tab and go through the different tabs here to activate either Actions, the Layers, or the Photobooks and Collages. The way I prefer to work with it is standing on its own outside of the other panels. Now you start off with a document size, a page size, and you have a number of different standard page sizes here. If you want to put in a custom one, you can very easily put it in here. So I'll start off with a 10 by 10, and they're automatically default at 300 dpi. You have a choice here of the background color, so you can click on the color picker here. You could have any color you wanted. I'm going to cancel out of that. I could use a gradient background. There are a number of default gradients here you can use, or you could use an image for your background. In this case, you would navigate to where the image is located on your computer, normally in a folder somewhere, and select it, and then it will automatically put it as the background. I'm going to use white for now. Click on Create. Your next step is the layout or design, and I normally start with one of the 13 standard designs. Here's a quick visual overview of the 13 standard designs. Here are your 13 standard designs. I always start with a standard design when I want to make a custom design and work from the standard one first. You'll be receiving this PDF. You can review this. So let's start with the square grid collage. You have the option of how many rows you want in there. I'm going to leave it at 3 by 3. The amount of the border, image spacing, I'll pop this back to 50, and you also have a choice here of whether to apply image borders or not. I will apply them so that we can see them, put them in black, and I'll make the size of it 5. Click Apply. Your next step is to populate your design with your photos, and you have 3 choices to do that. You can use images that are already open in Photoshop, selected images in Bridge, or go to a folder of images, and you'd have to designate where that folder is on your computer. I always use selected images in Bridge. Simply go to Bridge, and then I will select the first image and shift click, go back to the panel. If we refresh here, we'll see that it notices that there are 9 images. Click Apply. Now if I want to reposition any of the photos within the openings, I want to select Auto Select here. That's going to be a lot faster. When you click on it, when Auto Select is selected, it's going to jump straight to it in the Layers panel there. So if I wanted to maneuver this one around, I can do it by just clicking and dragging it, getting exactly the way I want it. Same with this one here. The photos are automatically resized to 10% larger than the image opening. You can also, of course, select any image and use the free transform tool to resize it if you want to. However, you've got to watch with the resolution when you're using the free transform tool. Now you can also select 2 photos and swap their position. I've selected this one, held down the shift key and selected the second one. Click on this swap feature here, click Apply, and it will swap their positions. You can cycle images within the layout by choosing either left or right, and then you click Apply. You can also replace an image. In this manner, you would click on this and navigate on your computer to where the folder of images is, pick the photo, and then click on Apply. If we go to Appearance, you have a couple of options here. You can add a text label, either an oval, rectangle, or rounded. I'll apply one of those in a minute. And you can also add a collage frame to your specifications and your color here. I'm going to turn that one off for a moment and just add the rounded label here. Click Apply. So the text label has been put at the top of the layers here. So to edit this, I would select the text tool, put in a different name. I could also edit the label here if I wanted to make it white. I could choose any color I wanted to here, maybe lower the opacity and resize it. Control or Command T, enter, and maybe move it up the layers here, just drag it up. So you've got a lot of ways to go with the text label there, or you could put your own text label in, a custom one. I'm going to turn the text label off for a second. Just for your information, all of the photos are put into the openings using a clipping mask here. So if we see this one down at the bottom right, I've just turned it off there. If by accident one of them comes outside of the opening, the clipping mask may be removed accidentally. It's very simple to add it back in. You're just going to put the cursor over between the image and the image opening, which is here. So you put it over there, press Alt or Option on your keyboard, and that little arrow will show up. You click the mouse, and then that puts it back into the clipping mask, just so that you know how to do that in case one of them accidentally comes out of that clipping mask mode. Let's look at the collage frame. This will add a simple frame around your design here. This is set at 125 pixels. You can set it at any amount you want, and of course pick any color you want. I'll leave it at black. Click Apply, and it will put in the frame for you. I'm going to minimize this one, create another 10 by 10, and this time we're going to create a custom design. I'm going to add a background image. For this, you're going to click on the image and then navigate to where your photo is on your computer. I'm going to pick this one, click Apply. I'm going to reposition it. The next step is to go to Layout. So when I'm making custom layouts, I always start with one of the preset designs here. And one of my favorites is the rounded grid collage. I prefer the corners to be rounded, and in this area here you can decide how much of a rounded corner radius you want. I'm going to go with 45. I'll stick with 3 by 3 because we're going to delete a number of the openings. Now I'm also going to add a small image border here. Now you can click on the color picker, make it any color you want. I'm going to go with white at 5 pixels. Click Apply. Now to customize this, I'm going to remove these 6 openings on the left here. And to do that, click on the first one with Auto Select selected. Hold down the Shift key and just keep clicking. And as we can see, it's selecting those openings in the Layers palette. And I can get rid of those by clicking on the garbage can here. Now we've deleted those 6 openings, it's time to populate it with the 3 openings that are remaining, and we can see that the panel recognizes images required for layout is 3. And I've selected 3 images in Bridge. Click Apply. I'm going to reposition this one. And you would save this as one of your own custom layouts, so you don't have to do that work again. You would just go into File, click Save As, then you could reopen it and repopulate it with different photos. And to do that, we just go back to Document. I've got a different background image selected, reposition it, and then go to our images and click Apply. I'll reposition this one. I'm going to minimize this one and make a typical wedding spread, 24 inches by 12 with a white background. So I have my 24 by 12 inch layout. I'm going to go to the designs here. I'm going to start off with the square grid collage 3 by 3, Apply. Now I'm going to customize the design. Once again, we want Auto Select selected. I'm going to delete these 6 openings, holding down the Shift key, clicking on them, and then go to the layers here, click on the garbage can. Now I'm going to select these 3, once again holding the Shift, then use the Free Transform tool, Control or Command T, and we'll just drag them up here. Press Enter or double click. Now to double check and make sure that your distance at the top here is the same as the bottom and the sides, it's 1 inch, you could right click on here, change it to inches, and drag out guides. As you probably know, I'm at 1 inch there, so I'm all set. Now the one thing that you do have to be aware of when you're creating custom and unique layouts with different openings, you have to make certain that in the layers that each of the openings has a different frame number. It doesn't have to be sequential, but they all have to have a different frame number, so that the panel here, if we move the off to the side there, so that the photo books, when we go to the images, that it recognizes that now there are 3 openings here, and I'm going to use Selected Photos in Bridge. So I've selected the photos in Bridge, Apply. The photos are loaded in, just reposition this one. And then of course this will be saved as a layered PSD. You'd reopen it and just repopulate it with new photos. Let's take a minute to review some of the standard designs and some of the custom designs you can create with your Photobooks and Collages Photoshop plugin. Starting with grid design, we just made a custom one of those. Next is variable grid. Scattered is a standard design. I came up with something similar here, but a little bit different, using the rounded grid collage. Just removed the middle openings and had a nice double exposure as a background image. Here's the snapshot design, and here's a couple of examples of other ways that I use this particular design. Next is image stack. This can also be customized in a variety of ways. Here I put a different background image on it, and here I deleted some of the middle openings. Next is the 3D photo wall. This works great for sports photography, high school kids. This design works great for any sporting event, but there are other ways to use it as well. For instance, here I just used it with this landscape photo. Here's the Polaroid design, and here's an example of how I combined the Polaroid design with the rounded grid openings. This is the grid with main design. Next is triptych. Triptychs are usually used for architectural or landscape shots, but there are other ways to use this design. With this model, for instance. Next is the rounded grid. I use this a lot, and there are many ways to customize this and come up with different design ideas. Rounded with main, another one of my favorite designs. It's very easy to customize, and here's another way to use the design with just a single image. Here is the teardrop design, and here's another example of how I use the teardrop design to make up this high school senior yearbook. And finally, the mosaic design, which works great for sports and high school kids. As I mentioned, you'll be receiving this PDF of the 13 different designs. Most of them work in the same way. You select a design, then you populate it with your photos, but there are 4 that work in a different manner, and those are the Polaroid, the 3D photo wall, mosaic, and triptych, and there is a movie for each of those designs showing you exactly how to use them. And that wraps up this quick start movie tutorial. If you have any questions, you can email me, gavin@photoeffects.biz. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.